Hey everyone, this is Frida Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Digimon Ghost Game, the anime, season number 1, episode number 35, titled Werewolf, and it finally happened. 35 episodes in, we finally got to see Simba Angoramon unlocking his new DigiVolution, which we'll get to in a bit. And as far as the episode is concerned, it was creepy. It was creepy in the sense that it talked about sacrifices, and we also got to learn a bit more about Ruli's family and her ancestry, which I hope that the anime explores more of. And again, I'm still waiting for an explanation behind why one of Kiyoshiro's hands is all bandaged up. But anyway, the episode opens up with this guy being attacked in the forest, and apparently a whole lot of people are getting attacked in this small village, and it's allegedly it's some weird werewolf type legend happening in the village, and that the werewolf is attacking these people. So Ruli, Kyoshiro, and Hiro, they arrive at the village, and they end up meeting they don't necessarily meet this woman, but this woman ends up recognizing Ruli. Her recognizes Ruli, of course, kind of surprises Ruli, because it turns out that this woman knows more about Ruli's family than she does, especially when it comes to this legend that's been a part of this village. So Ruli and her friends end up being picked up by this girl, I think her name's Sakura, and she married into the family, and she's like, okay, so nice of you guys to be here, and are these holograms with you? And she tells Ruli and her friends that they need to be careful while being in the village, because the people of the village they aren't necessarily used to seeing holograms. So if they end up staring at them strangely, that's what's happening. So during the ride, Sakura tells the kids that the village is a bit tense right now, because people are getting attacked and they aren't really sure what kind of beast is attacking them. And then they talk about this legend or a curse on the village that deals with a werewolf. And of course, Kyoshiro isn't happy about it, because Kyoshiro wants to go home, but Ruli is like, you know what? Let's explore this. And she asks Sakura who the expert on this curse is, and it turns out that it's the same old woman that they saw in the village earlier, and the person that got attacked during the opening of the episode turns out to be her grandson, and he's been poisoned somehow. And then she talks about the curse and how it's happening after 100 years. And this guy, he ends up recognizing Ruli, that she's from the Tsukiyomi. I think Ruli's full name is Ruli Tsukiyomi. I could be wrong. But yeah, she's from that family. And he's really glad that she's here to do something about the curse, because apparently the curse is that a maiden from the Tsukiyomi family needs to be sacrificed every 100 years in order to appease the curse, appease the werewolf. And I guess it's Ruli's turn now. And of course, Ruli isn't into it. Ruli's like, wait, we are talking about human sacrifices? What the heck is going on? Of course, Ruli isn't into it, and especially because it relates to her family, and it's as if her family used to sacrifice a maiden every 100 years, which, wow, that's dark. So we have this scene where this group of 5 people, they end up noticing these claw marks, and they're like, okay, so this thing isn't a bear, it's far bigger than a bear. So there are 5 people, one of them goes to get the toolkit, and while he's away, the 4 people get attacked by the creature, and they get poisoned as well. And the grandmother is like, yep, according to the legend, now 4 people are killed, more people, not killed, my bad, attacked, more people are going to keep on getting attacked if we don't do anything. So we need to sacrifice a maiden. And Angoramon is listening to the grandmother talking to the other people from the village, because everyone knows that Ruli is here and that she's going to be sacrificed. Especially for those who believe in the curse, they're ready for Ruli to be sacrificed. So Goramon is like, okay, so Hiro, do werewolves really exist in the human world? And Hiro's like, I don't think so. And Goramon is like, okay, so if it's so it could be a Digimon, right? But if whatever's attacking these people isn't a Digimon, then yeah, we need to figure out what it is. Ruli chimes in, and Ruli is like, you know what, ghosts and legends, I'm here for it, but superstition, I'm not going to believe that. She's not ready to believe that there's an actual werewolf curse on the village and that the werewolf needs a maiden every 100 years. She's not ready for that. And she's like, you know what? Why does I can't remember if it was her or if it was Hero, or maybe it was both of them. But they decide to investigate. They're like, yeah, let's go investigate. So they go to the area where those 4 men were attacked, and a whole lot of people are already there, and a whole lot of them also recognize Ruli. They're like, okay, so this is the maiden that's going to be sacrificed. So Jellymon was able to snap a picture of the claw marks, and then Kyoshiro, Hiro, and Ruli go over the claw marks, and they're like, okay, so this is way bigger than a bear, but again, whatever it is, we need to investigate. And Kyoshiro's like, no, we need to leave, and Ruli's like, no, I'm not leaving. If we leave, then that means that we accepted defeat, and I'm not going to accept defeat when it comes to facing a superstition. So as she's talking to her friends, she hears this voice that her friends can't, and then she ends up experiencing this weird vision from the past, and these men, they end up shooting arrows at her, and of course that really shakes her up. And she's like, no, I'm determined. I need to figure out what's actually happening. So she's like, you know what? In order for us to figure out what's actually happening, I'm going to use myself as bait, and I'm going to agree to be sacrificed. A whole lot of people in the village are like, okay, wait, so we're really doing this? We are really going to sacrifice a kid? And yeah, the old woman is like, hey, she made her decision, let's do this. And of course, Sakura is worried about Ruli, and this is where Ruli tells Sakura that, hey, don't worry, this is all part of a plan. I'm just using myself as bait to lure whatever creature that's attacking everyone, and there's no need to worry because Kyoshiro is with me and Hiro is with me. So it's time for the people to take Ruli to the place where she will be sacrificed. And as she's being taken there, she asks Angoramon if he's angry at her. Angoramon is like, no, I'm not really angry per se. I'm just worried about you. And also, there's a difference between being courageous and being reckless. And you're being reckless, Ruli. And Ruli's like, hey, don't worry. You guys are here. You guys have my back. Let's do this. So the grandmother ends up escorting Ruli to the place where she'll be sacrificed, and she's like, hey, I wanted to see this through because I didn't want you running away. And Ruli is like, okay, then lead the way. And as they're walking, Ruli asks the grandmother what happened to the maidens that were sacrificed. And I'm like, Ruli, really? That's a question that you wanted to ask? And the grandmother is like, hey, they were never seen again. So it turns out that the sacrifice is going to occur at midnight, and they still have 10 minutes. And then midnight happens, and Ruli ends up hearing these giant footsteps. And I really like this particular scene because Ruli is very determined to figure out what's attacking everyone, but she's also a kid, so she's also scared to be all alone and being the sacrifice. So it turns out that the creature that's been attacking everyone, it's indeed a Digimon called a Manticoremon, and it's quite gigantic, it's quite big. And the grandmother is like, please accept this offering, please accept this sacrifice. And Manticoremon ends up poisoning the grandmother, and he grabs Ruli and he runs away. And Kyoshiro and Hiro are like, you know what, there are 2 other men there as well, and they're like, take the old lady to the hospital, we're going to settle this. And Angoramon of course chases after Manticoremon, but yeah, Manticoremon is way too powerful, especially because it's quite poisonous. It ends up poisoning Betel Gamamon, and Kyoshiro's like, okay, so we're fighting poison. So he ends up digivolving Tesla Jellymon into Tetsimon, and Tetsimon tries attacking Manticoremon, but no, not only is Manticoremon powerful, he's also very fast, and he ends up poisoning Tetsimon as well. And I'm like, okay, so this is bad. And I'm like, but this is also good because now we can finally have Simba Angoramon digivolve, and that's exactly what happens. So while all of the Digimon are down, this is where Ruli finds the courage in herself, and she's like, nah, I'm not going down like this. She basically faces the Manticoremon head on, and she's like, so you are a Digimon and I'm not afraid of you, because again, these kids can handle Digimon. And she's like, you know what, as long as I have Angoramon with me and Angoramon can face any obstacle that's placed in our way, and we are not going to be defeated by you. Of course, Ruli's courage and resolve gives Simba Angoramon the strength that he needs to digivolve, and we end up being introduced to La Mortomon, which is, I wasn't expecting La Mortomon to be this gigantic, but I'm here for it. And he ends up putting up a very good fight against Manticoremon, and I really like the fact how La Mortomon's Digievolution is basically quite different personality-wise compared to Angoramon and Simba Angoramon, because La Mortomon is more vicious, he's more fierce. and he's all about protecting Ruli and basically going berserk against Manticoremon, and he's slashing and slashing and slashing. And I'm like, okay, so is Lamortmon really going to kill Manticoremon? But no, Darkmon appears, and she's like, wait, this Manticoremon belongs to me, so please don't hurt it anymore. And then we get to see that Tetsimon was able to create an antidote, and she's able to cure herself as well as Betelgamamon, and then they'll be able to cure the rest of the people in the village. And then Darkmon, of course, apologizes, and she's like, I've been trying to find Manticoremon, and it turns out that Manticoremon, after running away from Darkmon, Manticoremon was basically able to digest all of the data, taken all of the data concerning the legend, the lore, and it thought that it was the werewolf, and it ended up acting upon it. So, and Ruli is like, okay, so that's an explanation, but please make sure that this doesn't happen again. And Darkmon is like, hey, you have my word, this won't happen again. So of course it's time for the kids to go home, and Agoramon is basically thinking about the legend, the curse of the werewolf, and he's like, okay, so these legends and curses are like castles in the clouds, but I think basically he's saying that, you know what, even though these are legends and all of these curses, they are superstitions, there's still a kernel of truth in them. And as the kids are being driven away, this is where Ruli basically remembers what the old woman told her about how the werewolf was basically the guardian of the village and the forest, and then the moon princess ended up falling in love with the werewolf, but the people of the village weren't into it, and then they ended up and they wanted to get the moon princess away from the werewolf, and then these men came in with arrows and they shot at the werewolf, but one of the arrows struck the moon princess and she died. And the werewolf, in his grief, all of the grief that the werewolf had, it turned into rain, and in order to appease the curse of the werewolf, they end up sacrificing a maiden every 100 years. So that was the story that which was connected to Ruli's family, I guess. So I guess Ruli is supposed to be a descendant of the Moon Princess? Who knows? I'm not really sure. And as they are driving away, Ruli does seem to hear a werewolf howl from the forest. So basically the episode ends with a hint that, you know what, the curse of the werewolf could be true. There could be a werewolf guardian in the forest. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, this is where the episode ends. And again, we finally got to see Lamortmon. And of course, let's see what's going to happen next. Feel free to share what you thought of the episode down in the comment section below. Until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.